Exoticals. I'm starting a new series on this channel called the Rant Booth, where we can come on here and just vent and rant about our issues and things that we're going through for the day. Whatever's on my heart, I'll come on here and just rant and vent. And y'all can feel free to do the same in the comments. I just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about how when you're attractive, a lot of people like to categorize you as being fast or being a you-know-what, a H-O, you-know-what. And it's this it's a stereotype that a lot of us get from people just because of the way we look. We be the complete opposite sometimes. And it's just like we still get stereotyped as fast. I know that was something I was called growing up. And I wasn't even fast. As a matter of fact, I was trying to save myself for my husband for as many years as possible so what happened for me, so I was a virgin up until I was 18 years old. After I lost it with my first love, because I was young and naive and I still believed in fairy tales, and I thought that because he was my first that we would end up getting married because he was in love too and he wanted to get married. So I fell for the whole thing. And of course it didn't work out. He was seeing somebody else, whatever. And so I actually ended up getting raped. I actually ended up getting raped by him. I'm going to do a whole story time on that probably. But when I was with him from 18 to 21 years old, I was only with him. But after he raped me, when I was 21, I became celibate after that because I grew up a Christian. I grew up a pastor's kid, not just a Christian, but a pastor's kid, right? So it was even more strict in my house. I couldn't watch certain cartoons. I couldn't watch Pokemon. I couldn't celebrate Halloween. I was one of those kids. I just couldn't do anything. I had to dress a certain way. And so I only ended up having sex with him because I fell in love. And when you're young and in love, you feel like the guy's easily able to manipulate you. So yeah. So that's what happened with that. So yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of sex when I was young. I was actually trying to follow the Lord's word and save myself for marriage as much as possible. Even though I had sex when I was 18 years old, I felt bad about that. So I ended up being celibate. But then when he raped me, he broke my celibacy. So for a little background, we went to the same high school together. Ended up going to the same college together as well. It was at HBCU. One night at college, I was in my dorm room. Got a phone call from him. At this point, me and him, we weren't together. We were off and on for a couple years, but at this point in time we weren't together. But he called me. He was drunk, and he asked me, can I give him a ride to his dorm from this party? Because I had a car and he didn't. So I picked him up, but instead of going to his dorm, I forgot what happened. We ended up going to mine instead. And I remember having to help carry him to the bed. I laid him on my bed, and I went to the little living room area and slept on the couch, and because we had like a suite dorm. And I remember him telling me to come lay with him. So I ended up doing that, and we ended up talking. And I remember on TV was the Eddie Murphy special, one of the most famous ones. That was on TV. I remember that. And I was telling him, we can't do anything. I'm celibate. But it didn't happen that way. He was drunk and things just went left. And yeah, that happened. So yeah. And I felt terrible about that. And I'm choosing to be anonymous on this channel because I want to remain transparent as possible. So I'm going to be honest as possible. And I'm going to keep it all the way 100 with you guys. I ended up catching an STD out of this situation, and I felt like God was punishing me because I broke my celibacy even though I was raped. But that was my mindset was so messed up back then that I thought it was all my fault. So after that, I got it treated and everything, but I just was like, I felt like God punished me. I felt like God punished me. I felt like God punished me for having sex. I just felt like a terrible person. I felt like I was no longer pure anymore. And so I had what they call your whole phase. I went a year, and every guy I started dating, I just went and messed around with him. It was like 4 guys that I would mess with. So basically, I went from not having sex at all to not caring anymore about saving myself for this person or that person. I became a pick-me. But I was hurting inside, and I wanted to fill that hole. So I was a hopeless romantic. I was obsessed with Disney movies and the princess stories about falling in love and all of that stuff. I would always daydream about just being in love. I was in love with being in love at the time. I was one of those girls that was just like looking for Prince Charming. I was just a hot mess. But I remember feeling so depressed and hurt back then. Because I felt like nobody really had my back. Because my mom didn't have my back. I'm going to do a story time on my mom. She was a narcissist. She was actually the reason I was caught fast most of my childhood. She was the one doing it to me. I remember, because I told you guys about that story when I went to my school dance with my boyfriend, and those girls at the school were hating on me, and they tried to plot to get me in trouble, and they told the security guard at the dance that I was being promiscuous, even though they were the one being promiscuous, and I wasn't. I was a virgin still at this time, because I was younger. I was at least 14 around this age. And at this school dance, these girls were trying to sabotage me and get me in trouble, which worked. Because they told the security guard that that I was dancing promiscuous. And he pulled me aside, had a whole talk with me, told me he was going to call my mom. I tried to tell him I wasn't doing anything. Me and my boyfriend were just hugging. That's all we were doing. We weren't even dancing like that. We were hugging each other. But they wanted to sabotage me so bad because they've been trying to get me. And so it worked. So my mom came to the school and was just like, why are you being fast? And all of that stuff. And then I remember a couple of days later, I threw up and my mom was like, you better not be pregnant. And I told you, mind you, I'm still a virgin. So I'm like, why do you think I'm doing anything at all? I couldn't make a lot of female friends because females didn't like me. So I naturally gravitated towards certain guys as friends. Because I needed some type of a friendship. My mom wasn't there for me. Females weren't there for me. So naturally, I gravitated towards males. And obviously, that came with a label. I have a nice body on top of a pretty face. I have a Coke-shaped body. I remember getting a whipping because my dad thought I was messing around with boys at a football game that I went to with my cousin. Me and my cousin were very close, and we went to a football game, and he happened to have his friends there, and I was just with him, with his friends, so it looked kind of like this girl is with a bunch of guys. Mind you, this is a small town, and y'all know how small towns are. People like to gossip and talk. So here's that pretty girl with a nice body hanging around all these guys, and my dad gets word of this because this is a small town. And I get a whooping because I was being fast. Even though I wasn't, I was just hanging around with my cousin because I don't have any female friends here. Like, I really don't. The female friends that I did have stabbed me in the back. They stole my boyfriend at the time. And I'm going to do a story time about that. I don't want to digress too much, though. I want to stick on the subject. But we will make a story time about that one. So I didn't trust females. I didn't trust my mom. My dad was more on my mom's side when it came to certain things. I'm going to make a story time about my mom, like I said, to give more context on that without getting too off subject. I felt uncomfortable wearing certain clothes because I felt that I would be overly sexualized. People would judge me easier. I didn't want to be labeled something that I wasn't, especially if it was something negative, like being called women think you will take their men when you're not trying to. I don't know how many times I've gone through this where I don't know how many times I have to go through this where a female was with her man and she felt like she needed to kind of, like, you could tell when a female's trying to, you could tell when a female feels insecure around you when her man is around, they just start acting different. I have a thing where I could sense people's energy, so I could just tell. So guys, this is just a quick little vid. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this one, but I just wanted to get this off my chest. Have y'all went through any of this? Have y'all been caught fast when you were just attractive and just minding your own business? I'm just an introvert. I've always been an introvert. I've always been quiet to myself. I didn't deserve to be called oh when I wasn't, and it hurts you. It hurts you over time, especially not having nobody that has your back. It's easy to get influenced by a man. You want that love feeling that you feel like you're lacking because the world's judging you just because of the way that you look. People assume that you look good, that you have a easier life, but you have more of a lonelier life, if in my opinion. At least in my experience. Maybe everybody's different. I don't know. I just know in my experience, I'm more lonely than anything because I don't trust anybody in my life. I don't trust people. I don't trust people who are 100%. I can't tell if somebody's 100% my friend or if they only want me for this or that. I feel like I'm always being used. I'm always a doormat. So yeah, I'm gonna make a part 2. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening.